We're here today at Justin J-Byrd Burnham, his studio, and basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna take some interview, and I'm gonna be asking a couple of questions from Justin. All right, Justin, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Like Stan said, I'm Justin Burnham. Everybody calls me J-Byrd. My friends call me J-Byrd. It's more of a street name, and then it turned into a hip hop name. It was just something that went from just a nickname to being big, because I got into music, and I went from doing rap music, freestyling, and hallways, going against people, battling, having fun. But I started to win a lot of those battles, and it started to get the attention of other people. One day I got offered by a friend, a friend of mine, to buy a studio because he had to pay a $200 fine or he was going to go to jail. So he said, $200 for the studio right here, right now. I actually had the money on me at the time, and I took it, ran with it, and started doing music, started doing shows. I met Twister, I met Afro Man, and then for some time there, I took a break from my music because I got involved in MMA about 3, maybe 4 years ago, and I lost my first fight to a guy named Chris Howard. And that night, I realized that I still wanted to keep fighting. Something about it just drew me back. I went outside after I lost my first fight. I took one hit of my cigarette and I threw it on the ground. I stomped on it, and I ain't smoked since. Started training, started winning a few fights. Eventually, 7 wins in a row later, I won the 135 tapped out championship. And right now, I'm currently 13-16. I'm going after a 145 belt for Cage Combat. The 23rd of March, and that's going to be at the Wing Stadium, co-main event. So my goal for MMA, for amateur MMA, has always been to hold a belt in both of the weight classes, and I've already held one at 35, and I'm hoping to pull off my goal for the 45 title. So that's what's been giving me a break from my MMA, or from my music, is the fact that I got addicted to MMA.
Okay, and how did you get involved in MMA?
I had a friend. How did I get involved in MMA? Long story short, I had a friend named Chris Vance. He's a fellow MMA fighter. He comes back, he comes and goes. Pretty good. He's a record of 7-3 now, I believe. But Chris, I used to work with him, and he's kind of a hyper guy. I was working one day, he comes up to me, "Hey buddy, guess what I'm doing?" I'm like, "What's up?" He said, "I'm cage fighting." I'm like, "No, you're not." He's like, "No, seriously, I am. This Saturday, man, you should sign up." So after work, we went to his house, got on his computer, and saw that he was signed up to fight for Tapped Out. And I decided to sign up too. And like I said, we both fought that night for our first time. We both lost. And then the funny thing about the championship that I won at Tapped Out is that after we lost our first fights, we quit smoking, and then we continued to train and learn MMA, and we beat so many people that eventually there was a tournament for the 135 belt, and I won that side of the bracket, and so did Chris Vance. So I had to face the guy who got me into MMA for the title, and eventually I beat him for the title, but we're still great friends afterwards. That's how I got involved in MMA, and been addicted ever since then. I've been to Tapped Out, to MFL, which is a great venue, AFA, Combat Zone, Cage Combat, 9.5 Series, West Michigan Wars, you name it, I've been there.
Okay. And what is your like most memorable fight? Like you, just like the most you remember, and why?
This is gonna be. I'm gonna say two fights. I'm gonna say my one of my most memorable fights would be with a guy named Aki Molden, from West Michigan Wars. We both won Fight of the Night that night. We went 3 rounds, and that was the first fight out of all 30 of my fights. That was the first fight that ever went to decision, and I won by obvious choice because I beat him in all 3 rounds. I mean, just his strength and he just would not stop. He was ruthless. That was probably my most memorable fight because of the effort, and I think that was the longest that I was in the cage. And then plus winning Fight of the Night that night and having an award sitting on my shelf was one of the first awards I've ever had. The last time I got an award was when I got Principal's Honor Roll in school, so it was cool to receive an award. My second favorite fight would be against a good friend of mine named Josh Kirkland. It was one of my best performances. The fight lasted 39 seconds. I threw a kick within the first 5, maybe 10 seconds, Kyle. I don't know. In the fight, and it broke his jaw immediately, but he kept fighting. Eventually, I got him in a standing guillotine, and he tapped out. Well, after the fight, I asked him, "Why did you tap out?" I didn't have the choke all the way in, and he said that his jaw was broken. I was wrenching on it. Those are probably my 2 most memorable fights so far.
Okay. And what is your goal? What is your goal, like MMA wise? Like, what do you plan to do?
Honestly, and this is truthfully, my amateur MMA goal is to hold 2 titles in both weight classes that I have fought in. 135, which I have held the 135 title for Tapped Out and lost to Rico Robinson. Congratulations to him. But I did complete that goal of holding the 135. My goal is to also hold a 145 title. I don't care what venue. I have one coming up, like I said, March 23rd for Cage Combat, co-main against a Christopher Nix for the 145 strap. And hopefully on the 23rd, my dream could be complete of actually holding 2 titles in 2 different weight classes.
Is the Cage Combat, is it in Michigan?
Yes, that's a Michigan fight, and I love Indiana. I love fighting in Indiana because it's my state. But my favorite to fight is in Michigan because I am very good with my knees and elbows, and they're sanctioned in Indiana, so you can't necessarily do that, and that kind of eliminates a lot of my fighting style. So fighting in Michigan for a title is actually a great opportunity for me to bring home the 45 strap.
Okay, and tell us about how do you train, where do you train, and what do you do for training?
I train. Sometimes I train with a group of guys, Team Relentless, that Eli Cantu, very well known, the Latin Lion. Big shots out. I trained with them for a while, but they train a lot in South Bend, and money and gas is hard. I mean, we live in the COE, City of Elkhart. My money's hard nowadays. I can't drive out to South Bend all the time. Honestly, most of my training, and whether some people like it or not, but most of the skill and fights that you have seen has been from me training myself in my garage, and with the help of Kyle Forrester. He had his garage set up with mats, and we had a guy named Joe Paris who came over and taught us jiu-jitsu, and I got to give shots out to Joe Paris and Darren Paris. Thank you for the jits, and Kyle for just for the experience. I train in my garage a lot for stand-up. I got a bench in there. For cardio and for weight cutting, I usually put on a sauna suit, and then run for about 2 miles that way and all the way back. Take the sauna suit off, bunch of sweat everywhere, shower, That's what I normally do for my cardio, but I hit the bag a lot. I just recently got me some boxing headgear and boxing gloves, also focus mitts. So I work a lot on stand-up because I'm more of a freestyle / jiu-jitsu fighter. That's what I do to train.
Okay. Is there any amateur fighters you really want to fight? And if you do, who is that and why?
Good question. You know what, to be honest, if there's any amateur fighter that I want to fight before before it ends for me anytime soon, I would literally have to say I fought this guy before. There's actually two people, but one in particular I want. Andrew Karsten, because he is one of the best. We had a good fight the last time, but I feel that if I train a little harder, I feel that I'm ready for him. But as far as future-wise goes, because he is the best, in my opinion, and a lot of people would agree with me, and I know a lot of people may not think I'm ready, and I know I'm not ready now, but I will be soon. I could guarantee that. I would like to face Brandon Shellhart before I retire from amateur fighting. I would like to train real hard and have a shot at Brandon Shellhart one day, not for a title, just to say I have fought him, maybe possibly beat him, or just to say that I have went to war with him.
Okay. And what is your plans? Let's say in 2 years you're gonna retire from amateur MMA, and what is your plans? You're gonna just become a full-time rapper, or what is your plan? Spend more time with your family, or
both. My goal for amateur fighting is when it's all said and done and I'm ready to retire on my own recognizance. What I'm going to do, I got my own studio office. I got good songs coming out. I got quite a few lists of songs. I got about 4 done out of 13 that I'm doing. I got a lot going on. I probably spend more time with my family, help continue raising my 5-year-old, because I mean, if it wasn't for her, to be honest with you, let me put it like this: if I didn't find MMA, and if I didn't have a 5-year-old, I'd probably be dead now. I mean, I used to get in a lot of trouble. Unnecessary trouble, stupid trouble, wrong places, wrong time. People challenged me. I was always ready. Going to jail over dumb stuff. Now that I'm more grown, got into amateur fighting, got my 5-year-old, it's calmed me down. My goal probably would be is to spend more time with my family, continue raising my kid, and I have a CD coming out this summer called COE Rise and Die. Y'all look for it. My goal is to have 2 CDs done before I'm at least 35, and hopefully own a chopper. Okay. I love motorcycles, so.
Yeah. And do you know anybody else who is for example, from Elkhart County, not necessarily from Elkhart, who is self-trained like you are, who's training out of garage, who's doing MMA fights? I'll explain you later on why I'm asking him.
Kyle, throw me a bone here. Who did we say to train out?
Everybody that's training out of Man Cave. Drew.
Yeah, Drew Atkins. If you've seen a couple of his fights, especially I think his last one, he knocked somebody out so quick it wasn't even funny. And also he had a great fight with Steve Clark at I believe it was at the Cove for MFL last year, the Kovaleski Stadium. Andrew Atkins, who else trained out of the garage? Quite a few good fighters actually train out of the garage, and I know how promoters feel and gym members feel about training in a garage is not going to get you anywhere. Well, I mean, no disrespect to anybody or any promoters, but most of my wins and most of my training has been from the garage. I study MMA tapes. I study when people train me, and I study to the point I've watched over. God, I have so many King of the Cage fights videos. I've watched maybe over 1,000 fights of people I don't know, and I study how they got in that submission. I think that garage fighters, should get a gym because it is going to help them stay focused, especially if they're paying money. If you're paying money, why would you not show up to your own class that you're paying money for? But I don't put down any garage fighters because I am one of them, and like I said, Drew Atkins, and that's the only person I can think of at the time that is a great fighter that trains out of the garage and works hard. But when you train out of a garage, you got to mean it. You can't be like, oh, I'll train tomorrow, or maybe not today. If you're gonna train in a garage, then it is up to you because you're in charge to go down there, get in your garage, get ready, get sweaty, and don't joke around. Be serious about it and put in some work. Put in an hour, put in 2 hours, put in 20 minutes for all I care. Do something.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I'm asking you because as I mentioned before we start the interview, there is a next level MMA gym in White Pigeon.
Mm-hmm.
And price extremely affordable, yeah, and that team is amazing because bunch of newcomers,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure they can definitely use seasoned guy like you were, you know.
Yeah, and I believe Jeremy Brown runs that, if I'm correct,
Yes,
the next level
yes.
MMA. Jeremy, yes, I am coming to join you actually, and I believe I told him on Facebook. Jeremy's cornered me a couple times. We went to his house to train a couple times with Kyle too, and Jeremy has taught me a lot about heart, respect, and just to keep going. You can't say, you can't have a fight that's important in 2 weeks, even if it's not an important title fight. You can't be like, well, I'll be ready. You got it. My opinion is to train a month or two in advance to a fight, even if it's a title fight or non-title fight. And Jeremy is the type of guy that will help you eat right and get you in the gym 7 days a week, 4 days a week, 3 days a week, but he don't do no less than 3 days a week. With that kind of guy, he next level MMA because it's cheap, and he's asked me to come there, and I'm coming downtown. I'm coming.
What do you think about last Tap Out event where you was performing, you was singing, as was like in the memory of Gary Alilovich, and do you think Tapped Outs need to start looking for bigger venue, larger venue, because that was packed?
Let me say it like this. I love Tapped Out. I don't care. I love almost every promotion that I have been involved in. I love MFL, AFA, Tapped Out. I love them all. But Tapped Out is where it started for me. I think that when I performed there, because I'm real good friends with everybody, I appreciate them letting me put my music out there to let everybody know that Justin Burnham also has other talents. And J-Byrd has a CD coming out. That's why they let me perform, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Tapped Out. I think that Tapped Out is a growing, just because Tapped Out didn't have fights going on for quite some time. It was a year maybe, or maybe less, maybe more, maybe 2 years. I don't know, where they didn't do any shows for a while. But when the second you get on Facebook and Tapped Out said we're back, there were so many likes, it was unbelievable. And when the show happened at the Niles Inn, the first show, it was so crowded. I mean, it was elbow to elbow. I mean, you could barely get through. People love Tapped Out fights. Smaller venues, for me, I like big venues too. The more crowd, the better. But the smaller venues are cool because they're louder, they're more wilder, that you could see better. It's just a good event, for me. Do I think Tapped Out needs to get a bigger building? Yes, because with the fights that Tapped Out throws, with the good fighters that they have, and the amount of people that show up to these fights, I do agree that Tapped Out needs to expand their building, because not only will they get more fans, they're going to make more money because people love Tapped Out, in my opinion.
Yeah, the last event was 500 people.
Yeah, very,
and
very
150
crowded.
people has to turn back, tell them we don't have any more space, guys.
Yeah,
So,
and that sucked, because a lot of people, had tickets in their hand or had money in their hand to pay for a ticket, but they had to be pushed away because it was so packed.
Yeah.
I think that whether it's Michigan or Indiana, I don't know what's going on right now with their Indiana sanctioning right now, but I think they need to find a bigger place in Michigan just for the more money, so that way the people who want to see tapped out fights, because everybody knows tapped out fights are good. I mean, you're always going to see something cool at tapped out, always. I have, I've been involved in a lot of cool stuff, and performances. I mean, tapped out is growing, and I think if they want more fans, more money, they do. And they mean expand, find a building. Hell, I'll even help them look for a building. I think it's a great idea to expand the building. But the Niles Inn is a good place. Don't get me wrong. The lighting, the DJ's great, the cameraman's great. Yourself, Stan's great. I just think that a bigger building would be more efficient, so we could have more people, more money, and more people to say, man, I just saw some nice tapped out fights tonight.
Yeah, I received quite a few emails, and there's a bunch of people asking me, and I'm like, guys, don't ask me, because I'm not fighting there. So what do you recommend for people, for the newcomers who never fought before in the cage, but they really want to give it a try because they think they got what it takes to fight in the cage? What's the proper steps? What do you recommend?
Well, let me say it like this. If you're a first-time fighter and you get in the cage, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you get in the cage, whether you win, lose, get knocked out, get your ass whooped, I don't know. When you get in the cage, win, lose, or draw, you're going to know if you want to do it again. Like I said, I lost my first fight. I knew that I wanted to do it again. And here I am 30 fights later, going after my second title. It's addicting. I think if you are a new fighter, 0-0, never fought before, and you want to give it a chance, go for it. But just know that some people on the low key will train and never have fought before. And you go in there never training, and you step in there and you're ready to fight. This guy might have been training, and this is his first fight. He might demolish you. My opinion is, if you're going to train, or if you're going to fight your first fight, train for it, because you don't know what that other guy's been doing. Even though he's 0-0, has never fought before, you don't know what he's been doing before he signed up for this fight. I think that you should always train and be prepared and be healthy and eat right before you step into a cage, because it's a dangerous sport, but it's a fast-growing sport, and if you want to be a part of it, you got to get game.
Yeah, last event, it was in the memory of Gary Alilovich. I noticed it was very, very emotional.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I see a lot of fighters they just fight like I never seen before. Mm-hmm. And you can tell all people were so supportive. Usually it was kind of funny, because usually audience take the sides, whoever fight, but all audience was going nuts, because they were so supportive when people fighting, That's what gets me. I was like, wow. Tell me, what do you feel when he was performing, when he was rapping there? Because that was kind of emotional for you too, because you know Gary personally, or you saw him at least before?
I saw him at least before. And yes, the performance was dedicated to Gary, and that's why Scott said, yes, I want you guys to perform. I was like, I want to do this for Gary. So it was for Gary Alilovich. I can't really pronounce his last name that well. I have seen him. I have met him. I don't know him, as friend-wise. But the reason why it was so emotional, because, that could have been me. That I could have been the one who got shot. You know what I mean? Left after a fight and went home, or something could have happened, and that could have been me who got shot. You never know what's going to happen. 1 minute, one day you're in the cage, 2 days later you're dead, because some coward shot you, pretty much for no reason. I think that it was very emotional for a lot of people, and you could tell when Scott Penrod was on the microphone talking about it. You could hear him choking up, because it was very emotional, because you see a guy go in the cage and put his heart, his beating heart in there, and fight his ass off, and now a couple days later, and now his heart's not beating no more, and it's sad. It's real sad. It was a very emotional show, and I think that's what got the crowd. I think that's what got the show bigger that day, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was awesome, because I saw, as well as you do, a couple of unusual fights. Like one guy, his name Brandon Schmeltz, he's a camera guy. He never trained even 1 minute of MMA in his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped to that cage and he won. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, after he won, his body completely shut down on him because he never trained MMA. He's like, oh wow. He told me on the back, he said, I got so much respect for MMA guys right now because wow. He said, I thought I was in good shape. He said, I'm not. And he said, these guys doing it 2-3 times a month. He said, wow. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I fight at least once or twice a month. Like I said, if you know, and it's a good thing that Brandon won. I mean, he did a great job. But yeah, there's been times where I didn't train as well, and I won my fight, and I went to the bathroom, you know, puking my guts out, lightheaded, felt like I had a concussion, and I didn't. And that's what and no disrespect to any other fighter, but that's what you get when you don't train or eat right or get ready for a fight. You just step in there. Whether you win, lose, or draw, you know, you're going to feel sick. Hell, you might even throw up in the ring. I believe, I'm not going to say names because I really don't know the guy, but there's a guy who didn't train that well. He lost his fight. He opened the cage door immediately and threw up in his bucket because he was not, you know, training. You know, you got to get that. You got to train if you're going to fight. You know, I'm the type of guy that likes to fight as best as I can, and walk out of there, whether I win, lose, or draw, walk out of there and still stretch and be okay and go grab a beer, you know what I mean, and be okay and not have to go to the back and hurl for a few minutes before I feel better. So I think you should always train and get that cardio up before you step in the cage, whether you're doing it once or not, you know.
Okay, you mentioned in the beginning of the interview that basically MMA saves your life because it's kind of keep you away from trouble. Do you have any message you want to say to young generations? I mean, young generation of the kids right now who's basically getting in trouble day by day and on the streets because they have nothing else to do, you know?
Look, I actually that's actually a great question. For the younger people who, you know, let me put it like this. I used to get in trouble a lot. That's one of the reasons why I totally regret it. I'm going after my GED. But I quit Elkhart Memorial High School because at the time, I was in gangs, and every day I wasn't going to school to learn. Every day I was going there to fight. And it got so stressful to the point where it was stressing my mom out. I kept getting kicked out of school. I got arrested at school, and eventually I saw that it was hurting my mom. And pretty much I felt like every time I was going to school, I was going to fight. I was going to a war zone. It didn't feel like a school anymore. It felt like a war zone. And I gave up. One day I knew that I was going to end up hurting somebody real bad because at the time, you know, I was younger. You know, pressure at school can be very, very... excuse my French, it could be a motherfucker. You know, the pressure, the people. So I left before I did anything stupid. And the reason why I say it saved my life is because I was a violent guy. I mean, if you hit me, pushed me, poked me, spit in my face while talking, I swung at you. You know, and I got in so much trouble when it could have been avoided. MMA saved my life because learning how to fight and learning respect and being able to fight and not go to jail is a good feeling. You know, and the way I fight now, as good as I am now, I don't want to fight anybody on the street because I could hurt somebody seriously because of the training that I have. And that's why I think MMA saved my life, because I won't fight somebody on the street unless I'm attacked first. For the younger generation, if you have an attitude problem, if you feel violent, you got to find something to channel it. I don't care if it's wrestling, basketball, football, hell, even MMA. MMA is a great way to start, but train. Younger generation, like I said, you know, you look on the news every day and you see all these fights and people, you know, there was that fight in South Bend where every kid in the front of the school after school was just banging. They were just fighting, and it was all retarded. It was all over dumb shit. And I honestly think that people need to realize and think about their future, because pressure isn't nothing. Feeling like you got to be a part of a crew, that's nothing. Okay, you need to worry about yourself and yourself only, because my problem in school was I was too worried about what everybody else thought about me. Now I give rat's ass what anybody cares about me, and look what it's got me. It's got me my own studio. It's got me, my second title coming up. It got me great friends, good people. I met great people like yourself, Kyle. I have so many friends now because of the way I changed, and I can't thank MMA enough. I can't, I think that the younger generation needs to find something. Not drugs, because that's just going to do nothing but tear you down. That won't help. It may make you feel good for a little bit, but what are you going to do when that high's gone? You're going to feel the same, and you're going to waste money on more and more. Find something that gets you motivated. Something. When I found MMA, all I wanted to do was train. All I wanted to do was sign up for the next fight, and that was my adrenaline. And I tell you what, when the referee looks at me and says, "Are you ready, fighter? Are you ready, fighter? Fight." There is no adrenaline that can compare to that feeling, because everything around you is slow motion, but it's happening fast. I can't describe it. It's like jumping out of a plane. If you could find something, a pure adrenaline, that makes you feel that good, go for it. And that's my advice to the younger generation. Find something, whether it's music or some positive way to express yourself. Do it, because if you don't do it soon, you may make a mistake that could cost you your life, or cost you lifetime in prison, or even if it's 5 years, that's still 5 years of your life. I gained a title and 30 fights and music all in 5 years. If I could do it, anybody could do it, and I still got more coming, and I'm only 26 going on 27. So that's my advice to the younger generation.
All right. Next question, you might not going to be prepared for it, but it's going to be an unusual question. A lot of people know there is lots of violence in the streets of city of Elkhart, and I happens to know personally Dick Moore, the guy who's the mayor of city of Elkhart. As we know, everybody knows, not a big secret, we have lots of vacant properties right now all over the Elkhart. Mm-hmm. What do you think? If Dick Moore gonna kind of help out everybody, that way a bunch of kids will be taken off the streets, just like donate or whatever, let one of those abandoned properties be used for the MMA gym. Do you have any message you want to send out to Mayor City of Elkhart about that?
I don't know if I was the right person or wrong person to answer that. I have a lot to say about Elkhart. Well, okay, I'll be as respectful as I can on that. No, I think that the eyesores of those abandoned houses, if they're not being used for anything, tear them down. But if we could find a vacant house that is sturdy and it may be abandoned, but well enough to be fixed up, because a lot of these abandoned houses around here are huge. They're huge, and it's a shame that they could possibly be fixed up. For example, they got that armory store down the road. It used to be a liquor store at one time. It used to be a grocery store at one time, and it used to be a car dealership, and it used to be a skating rink. I've been in that building. That building is huge, from the basement to it has 4 floors if you count the basement. Huge. If they could take that building, and it's just my opinion because they're talking about demolishing it or somebody buying it. If they could take that building, you have 4 huge floors. I'm talking gymnasium-sized floors. One floor could be a bar. One floor could be for boxing only. One floor could be MMA. One floor downstairs could be an office for people who want to make appointments or make payment arrangements to do whatever's on level 1, 2, and 3. That's my opinion on places like that. Don't demolish them. That place has sentimental value. That place has been around since I was a kid. That's a historic place. I think, some of these houses, do need to be torn down because eventually termites set in, bed bugs set in, roaches set in, and mice find a place to nest, and then they spread to other people's houses. So some of those houses, yes, I do agree, need to be taken down. But as far as that armory is a great place. Like I said, I've been inside there. That's a great place for a new gym to start. It is huge. Parking ain't that much.
Where is that located?
Just literally down the road from me.
Okay.
Kyle knows where it's at. You know what I'm talking about.
It's right on Main Street.
Yeah, right on Main Street next to McDonald's.
Wait a minute. Is that like where it used to be main
Main
packaged liquor? Oh,
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's a huge building.
And the downstairs obviously was a liquor store, but that's huge downstairs.
Yeah.
But have you been upstairs and upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Huge. I'm talking huge. You could put a skating rink up there, basketball gym. It is huge.
Nice.
I think that Dick Moore, let me say it like this: Dick Moore, for the kids that need somewhere to go besides the YMCA, somewhere where they could let out aggression the appropriate way.
It's worth it.
It's worth saving that building and making it an MMA gym / whatever else is good for the youth. And I think that whoever ends up buying it or owns it should have it cheap. Just because the cheaper, the better, because more people could, profit off of getting out of the violence and actually having somewhere to go to. When they're having a bad day, they keep the doors open. It's a place to walk into, sign your name in, pay a couple dollars, and then go upstairs and go hit a bag that they might have hanging up. If you got some jiu-jitsu guys up there, go see if you could get involved in a roll. I just think that places like that are a great place to clean up, fix, and make something of it. I'd hate to see it go. It'd be a waste.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think by City of Elkhart gonna save that building, they will save a lot of young lives too. I
agree. I mean, it's just a lot of these people nowadays, and I've been around a lot of young people lately, 18, 19. I'm, like I said, I'm not that old. I'm 26, but I've been around a lot of young guys and girls, and all they could seem to do is when they get their money is drink, smoke, have sex, and party. They don't have anything else to do. That's what they look forward to on the weekends. I want to see people have something else to look forward to. Oh, I got the money today, I'm going to the gym, and I could be there all day just for this amount of money. I could go learn jiu-jitsu. I could get my strength up, meet new people. I honestly think that that's one of the reasons why that building needs to be fixed up, is because all these people who work at factories. I know people right now that will tell me, and you straight to your face, oh, I work so I can get money, so I can get high. What kind of life is that? I think that if they could open up a building like that and save that building, with it being so big, there's so much room for so much progress to save the youth of Elkhart and bring the violence and the crime down and stop increasing new police cars and undercover cars and police forces. Because it would minimize crime if we could get the youth to find a place to go to.
Okay, and what is your plans? I already know what is your plans about MMA. What is your plans about music? Tell us about what is your plans on your upcoming music project, like your CD. I know you mentioned your new CD coming out. What is your plans?
Well, like I said, I have a CD coming out this summer. It's called COE Rise and Die. COE standing for City of Elkhart, obviously. Pretty much the CD means COE Rise and Die, because this is where I rise, this is where I've lived, and this is where I rised as a person in music and fighting. This is where I rised as a person, and most likely this is probably where I'll die at too. And if I die here, then I'm fine with that. I'm proud of that. If I ever became famous, and I mean this, a lot of people say this and don't mean their word. I'm telling you right now, if I became famous off of music or whatever it was, and I bought a mansion or two in LA, I promise that I would be the kind of guy that when I have a 2-week break from my job as a performer, I would be calling almost everybody from Elkhart that I know and flying them down to my house to have a party. There ain't gonna be P. Diddy at my house. There's not gonna be, all these famous rappers. I want COE. I want Elkhart people to come see what can happen if you succeed. Not to brag or nothing. I would love to have the COE to come to a mansion if I became famous. That's my goal. Is to show them that if I made it, this is what you can do. I will always be there for my city. I will always rep my city to the day I die, because like Barack Obama said, I got it recorded on one of these songs that Elkhart at one point was hit the worst out of every city, every state in America. We were hit the worst by the economy crisis, and I almost was homeless. I almost had to sell my studio, and I almost was in tears like, dude, if I sell my studio, my rap career is over. I thought it was over for me at one point. But I managed to, come up with money. I managed to keep my house by the graces of God, and I'm real thankful for that. I just think that as far as music goes, I like to do a lot more shows. Because I got a lot of plans. I can't say them now, but I got a lot of future plans coming up, and I think I'm going to be a really good performer for my city. I'd like to at least put out 2 or 3 CDs. My CDs are some are going to be club bouncing type songs because people like that. But most of the songs that I write come from my heart and come from Elkhart and the stuff that I go through and the stuff that people go through. Struggling with money, struggling to just be happy, struggling to get over their addiction, but they're so broke that they have nothing else but to get drunk. They feel like giving up. I've been there. I've done it, and I felt it. I know your pain. Believe me, I know your pain. And I honestly think that if I put out this music, that people will feel me, and I'm hoping that it becomes a hit. Just because I know that, and I'm trying not to choke up right now, but I really think that if people hear my music and feel what I'm saying, and seeing what I have done in 5 years as far as fighting in music, I think that they will know that there is hope. There's a way. God didn't put us here to suffer. I'm not too sure why God put us here, but I know it wasn't to suffer. I think that anybody can make it if you put effort into it, but you have to put effort into it. You have to. If you give up, then you already lost the war.
Okay, and do you have any shout-outs to anybody? It's going to be a good time to do it now if you want.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Stan for the MMA Reality Show. It's a great show. I've been watching it since it started. My boy Kyle Forrester for helping me train a little bit of jits, weight cutting. He taught me how to cut weight. He taught me how to cut 10 pounds in a week. The healthy way. Big shouts out to him. Big shouts out to Jeremy Brown and Next Level MMA for what Jeremy Brown has taught me. Big shouts out to Eli the Latin Lion Cantu, Miguel Vera, Apollo Perez, Pac-Man. All you guys have helped me out too. Trained with you guys quite a few times. Not as much as I should, but like I said, money's hard. I can't go to South Bend every day. Shouts out to all the promoters that have let me at their show. Chris Snyder, Scott Penrod, Todd Brown, Mike Brown, Justin Vanilla from AFA, Joel Chapman, Bruce Strunk, anybody that has allowed me at their show to fight for them, put on a good show. Thank you, and I appreciate you guys letting me show you my talents, and whether it's music or fighting, you'll be hearing from me in the future.
Well, thank you very much, sir. That will conclude the interview, and again, we're gonna remind that would be Mr. Justin J-Byrd Burnham from city of Elkhart. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I spit fire, I do what I desire. I spit fire, I do what I desire. Man, don't call me no liar. Someone pass me a lighter, cause I'm finna get higher to my own fucking desire. I spit fire when I speak, cause I'm the truth. I spit fire like a dragon when the words come out my mouth and go poof. I'm ready to raise a roof off this motherfucker, man. Anybody wanna go against J-Byrd? I turn them into sand, cause I spit fire, I do what I desire. I spit fire, I do what I desire. Man, don't call me no liar. Someone pass me a lighter, cause I'm finna get higher to my own fucking desire. I've been a bad boy ever since I was a fetus. I had to get up on my grind, cause alone my mama couldn't feed us. And every step that would walk through the door would beat us. And all I really wanted was money for shoes like Adidas. And the judge would misplead us. And who the fuck is he to judge me over my trials and tribulations that I done been through in life? I cut his ass with a knife and I bounced and ran to the nearest block, which was my house. I spit fire, I do what I desire. I spit fire, I do what I desire. Man, don't call me no liar. Someone pass me a lighter, cause I'm finna get higher to my own fucking desire. A lot of folks around here talking about that cash shit, that ass shit. It makes me wanna go scoop on my peoples and smash some shit. The bastards would never ever see it coming, even if the ground was rumbling. From the soldiers behind my back, we fix an attack and put you bitches on your back, cause I spit fire, I spit fire, I spit fire, I spit fire, I do what I desire. I spit fire, I do what I desire. Man, don't call me no liar. Someone pass me a lighter, cause I'm finna get higher to my own fucking desire. The flames ignited, I'm so excited. Bitches be prepared, cause there's no hiding. Yeah, I'm out riding, scoping for your punk ass. And if I see your ass, you better run fast, cause I'll put you in the grass 6 feet under. And sometimes I wonder why I get this way. Maybe it's a field that's been thrown on me, and that's the reason why I spit fire this way. I spit fire this way, I spit fire this way. I spit fire, I do what I desire. I spit fire, I do what I desire. Man, don't call me no liar. Someone pass me a lighter, cause I'm finna get higher to my own fucking desire. I spit fire. Yeah, and there you have it, motherfuckers. I spit fire for a motherfucking reason. You know what I mean? Yeah, a lot of y'all folks talk a lot of shit about J-Byrd. Hey, fuck y'all motherfuckers, man. All this rage inside of me, just let it out through my microphone. You know, fuck y'all. I spit fire. Y'all couldn't even manage the pain I go through. Y'all need people to be fucking hard. Not me. I'm a rebel, bitch. I spit. Hey, look. Yep, we stepping in the club 3 deep, because we is the hardest 3 in this piece. I'll leave you deceased for fucking with my piece. Yeah, you can bet with this triple threat that you'll get wet from us making it rain. Did you not see this storm? Hell nah, not even John Fisher could have predicted this storm. Yeah, the stage will swarm when I perform. The dance floor is jumping as my heart gets a pumping, and it got me wondering, yo, where the fuck is my drink? I better get one soon before I lose my mind. In fact, I'll buy this bar and turn this bitch into mine. But for now, I'll calm down before we shut this bitch down. Yeah. Get him. Get him. Yeah. Shasta.
Me and Nay Nay, yeah, we play play all day. When it comes to money, mama's gotta get paid. When it comes to money, that's something that I gotta do. Bitch out of line, have a face on YouTube. I'ma shut it down before it even starts. Give me some time, I'll break your fucking heart. Make it rain, trick, make it rain with my fist. Me mug on my face, cause I know I'm the shit. Words coming out my mouth, first gotta hit my lips. Spitting this first, got the club doing dolphin flips. Okay, I'm the trainer, hear that whistle. Time out, call the rep, cause I'm that issue. Please blow, huff, puff, these hoes need a tissue. I'm that bitch that make the hoes handcuff. Saying my name, yeah, they can't get enough. So I'ma say it one time, Shasta.